Hi, it's Ruth here. I'd like to show you some really advanced English in this lesson. But please, if it's too hard, don't worry. Just listen and maybe you can learn some vocabulary. Here is the first graph. It's a bar graph, but it has a line graph inside. Immediately you should start thinking about who, what, where, when. Can you see the information comes from 1996? The bars deal with money, the amount of sales of computer and video games in billions of dollars. The line is very simple. It's just the number of violent criminal acts or offences. Now, I told you this was advanced, so here is the other graph. The other graph shows the rate of victims for every 1,000 persons. And it shows you the number of victims in comparison to the release of certain video game platforms and specific video games like Grand Theft Auto 1 and here Grand Theft Auto 3. Here is the task. And as usual, in every IELTS Task 1, you have to summarize, you have to select the main features, report them, and make comparisons. Okay, the overview might look complicated because there is so much data. Let's read it together. These graphs attempt to make a link between rates of violent crimes and the purchase of computer and video games. The first graph shows the crime rate for offenders over the age of 12 from the early 1970s to the 2000s, and tracks this with the emergence of 4 popular violent video games or platforms. The bar chart shows the game sales in billions of dollars from 1996 to 2004, against the number of violent offences, which is illustrated by way of a line. And I'm sorry, I must admit I've made a little error. This is not the first graph, this is the second one that I showed you. So I'll just slow down and allow you to pause and read that again. Notice the verbs attempt, shows, tracks, which is illustrated. And notice how the student tells the reader what it's about, when the information comes from, who the people are, how old they are. Are you ready to keep going? Because this is high-level grammar, there are some quite advanced noun phrases. And these are quite similar in their pattern because you have a noun or article noun followed by a preposition of or for and then another noun. And that's really common in highly advanced English. So the last one there shows it in its simplest form, the number of violent offences. Game sales in billions of dollars. Here is the second paragraph. In 1973, there were approximately 48 acts of violent crime per 1,000 people. This figure barely changed until the mid-1990s after PlayStation came out. At this point, the number of violent crimes started declining and continued to drop until it reached 21 per 1,000 people in 2003. During that time, 3 other video games had been introduced to the public as well. See the different colours there? The blue words are to show you the consistency of past tense. And the green words are to show you the variety of time expressions. Please go back and study that and practice writing the paragraph yourself. Here is the third paragraph. Now just permit me to go back and show you which graph I mean. One moment. This one. This is the bar graph that I'm referring to in this paragraph. Take a look at it. The bar graph shows a similar picture. From 1996 to 2003, the number of violent crimes decreased from about 3.7 million to roughly 2 million, almost half. Meanwhile, sales of computer and video games were increasing dramatically, from just under $4 billion to approximately $7.2 billion by 2004. And notice in the middle of this paragraph the word meanwhile to indicate contrast. This number decreased, but these were increasing. Also, I want to give you a special hint here. Notice that the first sentence links to the previous paragraph using a similar picture. If you can link to the previous paragraph when it's appropriate, this will improve your score for coherence. And there is the case of meanwhile. Now I won't repeat the sentence. Let's just look at the grammar. So this sentence shows a sentence adverb to link with the previous sentence. It also shows an advanced noun phrase. Can you find it? It's this one. Sales of computer and video games. Can you find the past continuous with an adverb? Were increasing dramatically. And can you see the accurate description of data? Just under 4 million. Approximately 7.2 million. So those 4 features show you how an advanced writer of English writes. The whole text up to this point was 194 words. Now I don't want to scare you, but this is not uncommon for IELTS students. If they want 7 or 7.5, you need to be writing like this. Finally, there was so much data here and so many comparisons to make that I think in this case a 4th paragraph is a good idea, but it's completely optional. You don't have to do it. These graphs seem to indicate that a link between violent criminal behaviour and playing violent video games has not been established. I hope that you benefited from this higher level text, and I hope these lessons are really helping you. I certainly enjoy preparing them.